So I'm heading back to Scale, the Southern California Annual Linux Expo, and primarily I'm going because I need to ask a few questions about a application framework called, well, Flutter. Flutter is essentially very much like Xamarin. For many of you guys that don't necessarily know about like all this techno lingo and application developer lingo, Xamarin and Flutter are essentially cross-platform application IDEs, so integrated development environments. So if you were to build an application for iOS or Android specifically, if you built it in Xamarin or if you build it in Flutter, technically it should be easy to port one over to the other. Now there's some complications with that, mainly because of the differences between the operating systems, very much like how Android is Java based, so it runs on a JVM, which is the Java Virtual Machine, and of course you got iOS, which is run natively on the actual hardware. So there are a few questions that I have to raise for the Flutter developers, and that's mainly about accessibility, that being able to accommodate people with certain specific disabilities, like sight, hearing, any of that kind of stuff. And also another concern that I have with Flutter is that, I mean, it's not like Xamarin, which is Microsoft's tool to do cross-platform application. Flutter, in a way, is, well, more of like you gotta build it from the ground up, which, I mean, it's not that bad, but performance-wise, especially when you're porting things over, performance-wise, it's very noticeable whenever it's kind of like a drag and drop. Snapchat being an example of them. But there will be a future video explaining why Snapchat is kind of crap. Hopefully I get that out before Snapchat ends up completely going Chapter 11 and bankrupt and all that. So now I'm here at Scale. It's a developer conference for essentially everything open source. A lot of code is actually open source, surprisingly. Even to Swift in many cases is open source, and this is just another developer conference, which is a lot of fun, and well, I love getting swag. Okay, so it's been a hot minute. It's around 5:07. I pretty much just raided the entire expo hall, and well, now I'm trying to find out where exactly the talk I'm trying to join is supposed to be held. So it looks as if I'm in Ballroom C, because I was kind of half expecting that the talk for Flutter and Dart over here, I was half expecting it to be over in the other side of this whole expo, but luckily it's here. But I might as well check out what's going on right now. I mean, doesn't look like much that's in my field of learning. Although I did get some help with my resume specifically, and that's kind of the big thing that I want to try and do, especially this whole year, because I'm trying to get a job. I mean, YouTube is one thing, but actually getting a job and not depending on Patreon is a whole nother topic, so just go. One thing I do have to say is quite intriguing. Come on, focus. Okay, I can't wait until I can actually have some time to start messing around with Magic Lantern again and get this bad boy hacked. But basically, last year I remember this whole section. They had basically a whole line of just want ads, basically, like kind of job application ads that they're advertising. Maybe later on, considering that this is still the first day of Scale, they're gonna have a lot more stuff going on. I should really check what's going on over here on the east side. I kind of want to go to this, but there is also a problem about the fact that it is basically 8:44, almost 9 p.m. on a Friday night here in Pasadena, and I better start jumping onto the train because I gotta get home before they end up closing on me, which luckily hasn't happened to me before, but interestingly enough, I don't want it to happen to me at all. I mean, I would like to talk about Flutter right here out in the streets, but there needs to be a more proper venue to actually talk about this application framework. Well, application SDK, not really a framework. Just bear with me. Unfortunately, I would like to go to that whole happy hour thing that's going on for Scale, but I mean, all things considered, I still have a lot of other things I gotta do, so.
Cool. Hey, I'm Eric with PSSC Labs. We're a Southern California server builder here in Orange County, California. We build custom white box servers for Linux distributions. I want to give you a little
why not?
overview of our product here. Here's your standard pizza box server, which actually has, it's a dual processor, the latest Xeon, up to 1 terabyte of memory. The beauty of this is it's convertible from 2.5 inch SSD or SAS drive to also have large form factor drive.
Okay, so you can run SSD and larger form factors.
All the same.
Or you can do like just all SSD.
All SSD, all hard drive, hybrid, whatever you want to do. Also, you have PCIe bus to do add-on network carding. Yeah. So if you want to do 10 gig, 25 gig, 100 gig.
Yeah. So you could just throw this in the rack and
throw it in the rack, good to go. Okay. And beauty is, if you see, there's no lid, no cover. So you just pull it out, fix it, reconfigure, put it back in. So everything is actually
everything's pretty much modular, and you can get into
totally modularized, right? The blade server's here. The beauty about this blade server is it's got its own power supply, so you're not actually sharing a power supply with another blade chassis.
Okay.
So if this power supply or this chassis needs to be serviced, just pull it out. Everything else is still running.
Okay.
Same idea, modular with the type of drive, and also 1 terabyte of memory.
Okay, so my question is, what's the difference as far as compute speed or any of that goes?
Well, you'll have probably about 25% higher compute speed in this.
Yeah, because it has more hardware.
Exactly. So, and then you go to the Big Daddy here. And the Big Daddy here is your big data server. As you can see, 12 large form factor drives in a 1U space.
Oh, geez.
So that gets you 144 terabytes in a 1U. 12 times 12.